You know that feeling when you have been giving everything to someone for months, maybe years? You show up, you listen, you support them through their bad days, you plan your life around them, you imagine a future together, and then one day, in a moment that feels like falling through ice, you realize something. They were never actually in this with you. Not really. They liked the attention. They enjoyed the company. They appreciated what you gave them. But they were never ready for what you needed. A real relationship. Real commitment. Real partnership. And here is the part that hurts the most. The signs were always there. From the beginning. You just did not want to see them. You saw them and told yourself a story. They are just scared. They need more time. Once they see how good we are together, they will change. They did not change. They were telling you the truth the whole time. You just were not listening. If this cuts deep, if you felt that in your chest, keep watching. Because today, we're going to talk about the signs that someone is actually ready for a real relationship. Not the obvious ones. The subtle ones. The ones most people miss because they are too busy hoping, too busy performing, too busy ignoring what is right in front of them. And more importantly, we are going to talk about why we miss these signs. Why smart people, aware people, people who know better, still end up investing everything in someone who is never going to meet them where they needed to be met. Why we miss the signs. Let me start with the uncomfortable truth. We miss the signs because we want to miss them. Not consciously, but deep down in a place we do not like to look. We have already decided we want this person. And once we decide that, our brain stops being a detective and becomes a defense attorney. Every red flag gets explained away. Every inconsistency. Hetz rationally said every warning from our gut gets overruled by our desire. Carl Jung understood this perfectly. He talked about the persona and the shadow. The persona is the mask people wear, the version of themselves they present to the world. The shadow is what they hide, what they do not want you to see, what they sometimes do not even want to see themselves. When you first meet someone, you are not meeting them. You are meeting their persona. The carefully edited highlight reel. The best behavior. The I am totally relationship material version. And here's where we make the first mistake. We fall in love with the persona. We commit to the mask. We build a future in our head with someone who does not actually exist yet. Jung said, thinking is difficult, therefore let the herd pronounce judgment. We do not want to think deeply about whether this person is actually ready. Thinking is uncomfortable. It might lead to conclusions we do not want. So instead, we let our feelings pronounce judgment, and feelings lie. Especially in the beginning. There is a specific kind of blindness that happens when you are attracted to someone. Scientists call it the halo effect. When someone is attractive to us, we assume they have other good qualities. We assume they are kind, honest, emotionally available, ready for what we want. We do this automatically, without thinking. Our brain takes, I am attracted to them, and translates it to, they must be a good match for me. But attraction has nothing to do with compatibility, nothing to do with readiness. You can be wildly attracted to someone who is completely wrong for you, who is nowhere near ready for what you need. Schopenhauer wrote about this. He said that sexual attraction is nature's trick. It is biology pushing you toward reproduction. It does not care about your happiness. It does not care if this person will be a good partner. It just wants you to want them. He wrote, we forfeit 3/4 of ourselves in order to be like other people. When we are attracted to someone, we forfeit our judgment. We forfeit our standards. We forfeit our needs. All to make it work with someone who might not be capable of meeting us. Here is another reason we miss the signs. The hero fantasy. This is especially common but not exclusive to one gender. It is the belief that you can be the one who fixes them, the one who heals them, the one who finally makes them ready. They have commitment issues. You will show them that commitment can be safe. They have trust issues. You will prove you are trustworthy. They are emotionally unavailable. You will love them so well they open up. This is not love. This is a project. And people are not projects. Robert Greene warns about this in The Art of Seduction. It talks about how we create fantasies about people. We see what we want to see. We ignore reality and live in potential. The fantasy version of them is ready. The fantasy version wants what you want. The fantasy version is just waiting for the right person to bring it out of them. But fantasy is not reality. And you cannot love someone into readiness. You cannot perform your way into their commitment. You cannot fix what they have not decided to fix themselves. The cost of willful blindness. So why do we do this? Why do we ignore the signs, even when part of us knows better? Because seeing the truth costs you us something. It costs you us hope. IT costs you us the future we imagined. IT costs you us the person we wanted them to be. And in the moment, that cost feels too high. So we tell ourselves stories. We make excuses. We wait. We give them more chances. We believe their words instead of watching their actions. Machiavelli, the man everyone calls cold and calculating, actually understood love and relationships deeply. He wrote about princes needing to see reality clearly. Not how they wished things were, how they actually were. He said, "The one who adapts his policy to the times prospers, and likewise the one whose policy clashes with the demands of the times does not." Apply this to relationships. The one who adapts their expectations to reality prospers. The one who keeps pushing reality to match their fantasy does not. You have to see people as they are, not as you hope they will become, not as they could be if only, as they are right now. Today, this moment, the wrong approach before we get to the right way to evaluate if someone is ready. Let me show you the wrong ways, because most people are doing these, and these approaches guarantee you will waste time with the wrong person. Wrong approach 1, trying to change them. Thinking that if you just love them enough, perform well enough, meet their needs perfectly, ENOUGH, they will transform into someone ready for commitment. They will not. People change when they decide to change, not when you need them to. Wrong approach to playing games. Acting unavailable to make them chase you. Pulling back to test if they will pursue. Creating drama to see if they will fight for you. This does not reveal readiness. This reveals how much they like the chase. And people who like the chase often lose interest once they catch you. Wrong approach 3. Ignoring your gut. You feel something is off. Something does not sit right. But you cannot point to a specific thing they did wrong. So you tell yourself you are being paranoid. You are being too picky. You are self-sabotaging. Your gut knows things your conscious mind has not processed yet. IT picks up on patterns, inconsistencies, MA-say, RAOAX, PRA-SSEO, NA-say tone shifts. When your gut says something is wrong, something is usually wrong. Freud talked about the unconscious mind, the part of you that knows things you have not consciously realized yet. That is your gut. And IT is usually right. The shift in perspective. So what is the right approach? How do you actually know if someone is ready for a real relationship? First, you have to shift how you think about this. You are not trying to convince them to be ready. You are not trying to earn their readiness. You are evaluating, observing, assessing whether what they are offering matches what you need. This is not cold. This is wise. Machiavelli called this due diligence. Before you invest, you investigate. You look at the fundamentals. You check if the reality matches the promise. You would not invest your life savings in a company without looking at their finances, without meeting the leadership, without understanding their vision and execution. Why would you invest your heart, your time, your future in someone without doing the same? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You do not have power over whether they are ready, but you have power over whether you stay and wait for something that might never come." In the next segment, we are going to go deep into the actual signs, the specific things to look for, not just what they say, but what they do, how they show up, how they respond to conflict, how they talk about their past, how they integrate you into their life. I'm going to give you a framework I call IT, the 4-context test, for specific situations that reveal whether someone is actually ready for a real relationship or just enjoying the attention. But more than that, I'm going to show you how to trust what you see, how to stop making excuses, how to value yourself enough to walk away from someone who is not ready instead of waiting around hoping they will become ready. This is not about becoming cynical. IT is not about putting up walls. IT is about becoming wise, about protecting your time and your heart while staying open to something real. If you have ever invested in the wrong person, if you have ever ignored red flags hoping they were wrong, if you have ever tried to love someone into readiness, stay with me. This gets real, and it gets useful. Let me give you the framework, the 4-context test. This is how you know if someone is actually ready for a real relationship, not what they tell you, what they show you in 4 specific situations. Context 1, conflict. Context 2, integration. Context 3, future talk. Context 4, sacrifice. These 4 contexts will tell you everything you need to know. They reveal who someone actually is when the mask slips, when the persona cracks. WHEN real life shows up. Let me break each one down. The first real test is how someone handles conflict. Not big drama, small disagreements. You want different things for dinner. You need to talk about something that bothered you. You have different opinions on something that matters. A person who is ready for a real relationship does not run from conflict. They do not shut down. They do not turn it into a fight. They do not make you feel crazy for having needs. They sit with discomfort. They listen to understand, not to defend. They take responsibility for their part. They work toward resolution, not winning. Resolution. Epictetus tugged it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. Someone who is ready knows they do not know everything. They are willing to learn, to adjust, to consider that they might be wrong, to hear your perspective without feeling attacked. Watch how they respond the first time you express a need they were not meeting. Do they get defensive? Do they turn it around on you? Do they disappear for days? Do they make promises, but nothing changes? Or do they actually hear you? Do they ask questions? Do they think about IT? Do they come back with real changes in behavior? Not just words. Jung said, "The meeting of 2 personalities is like the contact of 2 chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Real relationships transform both people. But that only happens if both people are willing to be transformed, willing to be challenged, willing to grow. If someone responds to conflict by blaming you, avoiding you, or making you feel like you are too much, they are not ready. They might want companionship, they might want affection, but they do not want the work of actual partnership." The second test is integration. How do they integrate you into their actual life? Not the life they present on dates, their real life. Do they introduce you to their friends? their family, their world, or are you kept separate? Hidden in a compartment labeled person I am seeing, but never fully woven into who they are. Someone who is ready does not keep you at arm's length from the rest of their life. They are proud of you. They want the people they care about to know you. They want you to understand the full picture of who they are. Ask yourself, have I met the important people in their life? Do they talk about me to others? Do they include me in their plans, naturally? Or do I feel like a secret? Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." If they are only letting you see the appearance, if they are keeping you away from the reality of their life, they are not ready to let you in. They're managing an image, controlling the narrative, keeping their options open. Integration also means they integrate your needs into their They do not just do what they want and expect you to adapt. They consider you. They ask your opinion. They factor your schedule, your preferences, your feelings into their choices. Not every choice. That would be codependence. But the ones that affect both of you, the ones that matter. If you consistently feel like an afterthought, like an accessory to their life rather than a part of it, they are not ready. They might enjoy your company, but they do not want partnership. The third test is how they talk about the future. Do they include you in it naturally? Or do they avoid IT entirely? Now, this is nuanced. I am not saying they need to talk about marriage on date 3. That would be a red flag in the other direction. But somewhere around month 3, month 4, someone who is actually ready starts using we instead of I. They start making plans beyond next weekend. They talk about things they want to do with you, places they want to take you, experiences they want to share. IT is not forced. IT is natural, because they see you in their future, because they are thinking about a future that includes you. Someone who is not ready keeps everything vague. We will see what happens. Let us just take it one day at a time. I do not like to plan too far ahead. Now, those statements are not automatically red flags. Some people genuinely prefer to live in the present, but pay attention to the pattern. If months go by and they never reference anything beyond the immediate, if they change the subject every time you talk about future plans, if they keep everything short-term, that is information in Nietzsche side. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. Someone who sees a future with you has a why, a reason to work through the hard parts, a reason to invest, a reason to commit. Without that WHY, they are just enjoying the present until something better comes along or until it gets too hard. The fourth and most revealing test is sacrifice. Not huge sacrifices, small ones. The everyday kind. Real relationships. Requiere, but people to give up something sometimes. Your time, your preferences, your comfort. Not everything, not all the time. But sometimes. Someone who is ready understands this. They do not keep score. They do not need every compromise to be fit. They're willing to go 70-30 sometimes because they know next time IT might flip. Watch what happens when you need them to adjust their plans for you. You have a work emergency, a family crisis. You need support on a night they had other plans. Do they show up, or do they make you feel guilty for needing them? Do they resent the inconvenience? Do they keep bringing it up later as proof of how much they do for you? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste nitrogen, monoxide more time, arguing about what a good man should be." B1. Someone who is ready does not just talk about being supportive. They are supportive. They do not just say they care. They show IT through action, through small sacrifices made without complaint. This goes both ways. You should also be willing to sacrifice, to adjust, to prioritize them sometimes. If you find yourself always doing the adjusting, always making sacrifices while they do none, that is not readiness. That is using you. But if neither of you is willing to give anything up, if you are both holding tight to your independence, your freedom, your preferences, then neither of you is ready. You are dating. You are enjoying each other. But you are not building partnership. Now let me heave you specific questions you can ask. Not on a first date, but once you have been seeing someone for a few months and you want to understand their readiness. Question 1. What was your last relationship like? And what did you learn from how IT ended? Listen not just to what they say, but how they say it. Do they take any responsibility? Or is IT all the other person's fault? Do they have insight? Or are they still bitter? Have they processed that E? Or are they still living in that E? Someone who is ready has done the work on their past. They learned something. They grew. They can talk about their ex without venom or longing. Question 2. What does commitment mean to you? People define this differently. For some, IT is exclusivity. For others, IT is emotional availability. For others, IT is future planning. You need to know how they define IT, and whether that matches what you need. Listen for specifics. If they give vague answers about being there for each other without concrete examples, they probably have not thought about IT deeply. Question 3. What are you looking for right now in your life? Not in a relationship, in their life. Because if they are focused entirely on career, on travel, on figuring themselves out, they might not have space for what you need. That does not make them bad. IT makes them not ready for you. Plato said, the first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. Someone who has not conquered themselves, who has not figured out who they are and what they want, cannot fully show up for you. They are still in construction, and you cannot build a house on unstable ground. WHEN. They answered these questions. Listen for these things. 1. Consistency. Do their words match their actions? Do they say they want commitment, but act completely uncommitted? Trust action. Always. 2. Sell. Do they know themselves? Can they articulate their patterns, their fears, their tendencies? Or are they a mystery even to themselves? 3. Accountability. Can they own their mistakes? Can they say I was wrong without deflecting or defending? 4. Enthusiasm. Not fake excitement. Real interest. Do their eyes light up when they talk about building something with you? Or do they sound like they are describing a business transaction? Now, here is the critical nuance. There is a difference between healthy evaluation and paranoid suspicion. Healthy evaluation means you observe. Over time, you pay attention. You ask good questions. You trust your gut, but you also give them space to be human. To have bad days. To make mistakes. To not be perfect. Paranoia means you are looking for problems. You are testing them constantly. You are keeping score. You are waiting for them to fail, so you can say, I knew IT Schopenhauer warned about this. He said, we forfeit 3/4 of ourselves in order to be like other people. Do not forfeit your ability to trust just because you have been hurt before. Do not punish someone new for what someone old did. That is not wisdom. That is unhealed trauma. The goal is discernment. Seeing clearly. Not cynicism. Not walls. Clear sight. You now have the 4 context tests. Conflict. Integration. Future talk. Sacrifice. You have the questions to ask. You know what to listen for. In the next segment, we're going deeper into the timeline. How long does IT actually take to know if someone is ready? What are the stages of revealed readiness, and how do you handle it when you realize they are not ready but you have already invested? This is where IT gets harder, but also more important. Stay with me. Let me answer the question everyone wants to know. How long does IT take to actually know if someone is ready? There is nitrogen monoxide magic number. But there are stages, and rushing through these stages to get to certainty faster will only give you false certainty. Carl Jung sighed, The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. But transformation takes time. Chemistry takes time. You cannot speed up a chemical reaction by staring at IT harder. You have to let time do its work. Here is the realistic timeline. Month 1, 2, 3. You are still seeing the persona. The best behavior. The edited version. Not make any major decisions in this window. Enjoy IT. But know that you do not actually know this person yet. Month 3, 2, 6. The persona starts to crack. Real life shows up. You see how they handle stress, disappointment, conflict. This is when the 4 context tests really starts to matter. Month 6 to 12. You see patterns. Consistency or inconsistency. You understand how they operate. You know if their words match their actions over time. By month 12, you should have a clear picture. Now, some people will say that is too long, that you should know faster. Those people end up in situations where they thought they knew someone and they did not. Hobbes wrote about the social contract, about how people need time to prove they can uphold their end. That trust is earned through repeated action, not instant decision. Give someone time to show you who they are, and give yourself time to see clearly. The stages of revealed readiness. Let me break down what readiness looks like at each stage. Because it evolves, IT shows up differently as time goes on. Stage 1, the honeymoon. Everyone seems ready in this stage. Everyone is attentive, available, excited. This stage tells you almost nothing. Enjoy IT, but do not mistake IT for proof. Stage 2, real life test. This is months 3 to 6. Real life enters. Work stress, friend, drama, family obligations, health issues. How do they handle you when things get complicated in their life? Someone who is ready does not disappear when life gets hard. They might have less time, less energy, but they communicate. They include you. They lean on you in healthy ways. Someone who is not ready goes ghost, pulls back, makes you feel like you are a burden during the hard times instead of a support. Stage 3, the integration phase, month 6 to 9. This is when you should be woven into each other's lives. Meeting friends, meeting family, being included in plans, being considered in decisions. If by month 9 you still feel like you are on the outside looking in, they are not ready, or they do not see a future with you. Either way, you have your answer. Stage 4, the depth test, months 9 to 12. This is when you see if they can go deep, have the hard conversations, work through real conflict, plan actual future steps together. Someone who is ready does not avoid depth. They move toward IT. They want to know you fully, want to be known fully. If they keep things surface level at month 10, they're keeping their options open, keeping one foot out the door, maintaining exit routes. When you realize they are not ready now, the hard part. What do you do when you realize they are not ready but you have already invested, already caught feelings, already built a life that includes them? First, you have to be honest with yourself. Really honest. Not the hopeful version. Not the maybe if I just version. Honest. Ask yourself, based on what they have shown me, not what they have told me, not what I hope they'll become, but what they have actually shown me. Are they ready for what I need? If the answer is nitrogen monoxide, you have a choice, and IT is a hard choice, but it is yours. Choice 1, you can stay. You can accept what they are offering, knowing it might never become what you need. Some people make this choice consciously and find peace with IT. Most make it unconsciously and suffer. Choice 2, you can leave. You can choose yourself, your needs, your future. Even though IT hurts, even though you wish it were different. Nietzsche sighed. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. In relationships, the tribe is the pull to stay, to settle, to convince yourself that what you have is enough, because leaving is hard, because being alone is scary, because starting over feels impossible. But choosing yourself when someone else is not ready is not selfish. It is self-respect. Here's where people get trapped. The sunk cost fallacy. You have already invested so much time, so much energy, so much emotion, that leaving feels like wasting all of it. So you stay. You invest more. You think, I have already put in 2 years. Maybe just 6 more months, and they will be ready. Then 6 months becomes another year. Another year becomes 3 years. And you wake up one day and realize you traded your 20s, your 30s, your chance at what you actually needed for someone who was never going to give it to you. Robert Greene warns about this in the 48 Laws of Power. Do not throw good money after bad. Do not invest more in a losing position hoping to recover your losses. The time you already spent is gone. You cannot get it back. But you can stop spending more time on something that is not working. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. You could leave this relationship right now. Does that thought bring relief or panic? If it brings relief, Ibn Alitel, you already know what you need to do. If you decide you need to leave, or if you need to have a come-to-terms conversation, here's how to do it. Do not ambush them. Do not have this talk after a fight or when emotions are high. Choose a calm moment, a time when you can both think clearly. Say something like this. I need to talk about where we are and where this is going. I've been thinking about what I need in a relationship, and I am realizing I need more than what we currently have. I need to know if that is something you want and are working toward, or if what we have now is what you are comfortable with. Then be quiet. Let them answer. Really answer. Not deflect. Not make promises. Really tell you where they are. Listen to their actions more than their words. If they say they want more but nothing changes in the next month, you have your answer. Words without action are just noise. Epictetus taught, don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. People who are ready embody readiness. They do not just talk about it. They show up. They adjust. They move toward you. Now, here is a question you need to ask yourself. One that people avoid because it is uncomfortable. Are you ready? Because sometimes we focus so much on whether they are ready that we do not examine ourselves. We do not ask if we are bringing what we are demanding. Are you emotionally available? Are you integrating them into your life? Are you making sacrifices? Are you handling conflict well? Are you showing up consistently? Or are you just auditioning them for a role while you stay safely behind your own walls? Jung talked about projection. How we see in others what we refuse to see in ourselves. Sometimes the person we think is not ready is actually showing us our own lack of readiness. This is not always the case. Sometimes they are genuinely not ready and you are. But it is worth examining, worth being honest about. Real relationships require 2 ready people. One ready person and one unready person does not work. Nitrogen monoxide matter. How hard the ready one tries. Here is the final nuance for this segment. The middle path between settling and unrealistic standards. Some people settle. They accept breadcrumbs. They convince themselves that this is as good as it gets. They lower their standards until they disappear. Other people have standards so high that nitrogen monoxide human could meet them. They are looking for perfection, for someone who checks every box, who never disappoints, who is ready in every way all the time. Both are wrong. The middle path is knowing what you need. Not everything you want. What you need. The non-negotiables and being flexible on everything else. Maybe you need someone who handles conflict well, who communicates, who includes you in their life. Those are non-negotiable. But maybe you can be flexible on how often they text, what their relationship with their family looks like, whether they want kids right now or in 5 years. Schopenhauer sighed, a man can be himself only so long as he is alone. And if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom. Know yourself well enough to know what you actually need, not what you think you should. 1. Not what worked for your friends, what you need. Then look for someone who can meet those needs and who you want to meet in return. You understand the timeline now. The stages. What to do when you realize they are not ready. The questions to ask yourself. The middle path between settling and perfectionism. In the final segment, we're going to talk about what readiness actually looks like when you find IT. Recognize the real thing, and how to not sabotage IT when IT shows up, because you are so used to unavailable. People that avail feels wrong. This is the completion, the integration. Stay with me. Let me tell you what readiness looks like when you finally find IT. Because if you have been settling for less, if you have been convincing yourself that breadcrumbs are enough, you might not recognize the real thing when IT shows up. Readiness looks quiet. IT looks consistent. IT looks like someone who shows up even when the excitement fades. Especially when the excitement fades. IT's not dramatic. IT's not overwhelming. It does not feel like fireworks every day. IT feels like safety, like calm, like coming home. And if you are used to chaos, if you are used to having to work hard for attention, having to prove your worth, having to chase or convince or perform, this quiet consistency might feel boring, might feel like something is missing. Nothing is missing. You are just not used to being met. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Someone who is ready lets you be who you truly are. They do not need you to be smaller, quieter, less complicated, less ambitious, less anything. They meet you as you are, and they like what they find. Here are the concrete signs that someone is truly ready for a real relationship. Sign 1, they communicate clearly. They tell you what they want, what they need, what they are feeling. They do not expect you to read their mind. They do not punish you for not knowing what they never said. And when you communicate your needs, they listen, they consider. They adjust when they can. They tell you honestly when they cannot. Nitrogen monoxide games. Nitrogen monoxide tests. Nitrogen monoxide. Making you guess. Just clear. Honest communication. Sign 2. They are consistent. They do not disappear for days and then come back like nothing happened. They do not go hot and cold. Their interest does not fluctuate based on their mood or whether something better showed up. They are the same person on Tuesday as they were on Saturday. They show up with the same energy, the same carré, the same commitment. Sign 3. They resolve conflict. They do not avoid IT. They do not explode. They sit with discomfort. They talk through. They take responsibility for their part. They work toward solutions, and after the conflict is resolved, they do not bring AI up again as a weapon. They do not keep score. They move forward. Sign 4. They integrate you naturally. You meet their people. They include you in their plans. They talk about you to others with pride, not secrecy. You are not hidden. You are not a side piece. You are part of their life. Sin 5. They make you a priority. Not the only priority. That would be unhealthy. But a priority. When you need them, they show up. When you ask for their time, they make IT happen. When you express a need, they do not dismiss IT. They might not always be able to give you what you want in the exact moment you want it. But they care that you want it. They work toward giving it to you. Sign 6. They see a future with you. and they talk about it naturally. Not in a way that feels like pressure, just in a way that shows you are in their plans, in their thinking, in their vision of what comes next. Recognizing it when you've been hurt, here's the problem. If you've been hurt before, if you have invested in people who are not ready, you might not trust readiness when you see it. You might think it is too good to be true. You might wait for the other shoe to drop. You might test them. Push them away. Sabotage it before they can hurt you. Freud talked about repetition compulsion, the tendency to recreate familiar patterns, even when those patterns hurt us. We go back to what we know, even when what we know is pain. If you are used to unavailable people, available people feel wrong. They feel suspicious, too easy, like they must be hiding something. But sometimes people are exactly who they appear to be. Sometimes someone is just ready, just healthy, just willing to meet you. Your job is to not punish them for what someone else did. To not make them prove themselves 1,000 times, because the last person lied. Give them a fair chance. Observe them. Use the 4 context test. But do not sabotage them because you are scared. The difference between ready and perfect. I need to be very clear about something. Ready does not mean perfect. Someone can be ready for a real relationship and still have bad days. Still get insecure sometimes. Still make mistakes. Still hurt your feelings without meaning to. Ready means they are willing to work on it, to own their mistakes, to grow, to try. Perfect means they never mess up, never struggle, never need support. That person does not exist. Plato wrote about ideal forms, the perfect version of things. That exists in theory but never in reality. Do not look for the ideal form of a partner. Look for a real human who's doing the work. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, wrote about his own struggles, his own shortcomings, his own need to improve every day. If an emperor can admit he is not perfect, you can accept that the person you are with will not be either. The question is not, are they perfect? The question is, are they willing to grow? Are they self-aware enough to see their patterns? Are they brave enough to work on them? What to do when you find it, so you found someone who is ready, someone who shows up, who communicates, who integrates you, who makes you a priority. Now what? Now you have to be ready too. You have to stop waiting for them to leave. Stop testing them. Stop looking for proof that they're like everyone else. You have to let them in. Let them see you. The real you. Not the perfect version you perform. Not the easy version with nitrogen monoxide needs. The whole. Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Let them accept you completely. Let them love the messy parts. The complicated parts. The parts you usually hide, and you have to do the work too. You have to communicate. You have to show up consistently. You have to work through conflict. You have to integrate them. You have to make them a priority. Readiness is not a trophy you win and then get to relax. IT is a daily practice, a continuous choice. The integration of both shadows. Carl Jung's deepest work was about integration of bring the shadow into consciousness, about becoming whole. In a relationship, both people bring their shadows, their wounds, their fears, their patterns. The question is, can you see each other's shadows and stay? Can you work with them instead of running from them? Someone who is ready has done enough work on their own shadow that they are not terrified of yours. They can hold space for your pain without fixing it. They can see your fear without judging it. And you can do the same for them. This is what Jung meant by transformation. Not that you change each other, but that being together changes you both, makes you more whole, more integrated, more yourself. Here is the truth I wish someone had told me years ago. You cannot make someone ready. You cannot love them into readiness. You cannot perform well enough, wait long enough, sacrifice enough to turn unready into ready. All you can do is see clearly, observe honestly, ask good questions, trust what they show you, and choose accordingly. Some people are not ready, and that is okay. It does not make them bad. IT makes them human. IT makes them on their own timeline. But you do not have to wait for them. You do not have to put your life on hold hoping they will catch up. Nietzsche wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." Your why cannot be making someone else ready. Your why has to be your own life, your own wholeness, your own becoming. Find someone who is already doing their work, who is already ready, who meets you where you are. And if you are not ready yet, do not drag someone else into your process. Work on yourself first. Become the person who can show up fully, who can communicate, who can handle conflict, who can integrate someone into your life. Then look for someone who can do the same. Let me leave you with this. Love is not supposed to be hard in the way most people make ID hard. ID is not supposed to be constant anxiety, constant questioning, constant proving. Love has its own difficulties. Growth is difficult. Vulnerability is difficult. Showing up day after day is difficult. But wondering if someone cares about you, wondering if they will stay, wondering if you matter to them, that should not be difficult. That should be clear. If IT is not clear after 6 months, after a year, IT is because they are making IT unclear. And that is your answer. Schopenhauer said we can do what we wish, but we can only wish what we must. You cannot make yourself stop wanting what you want. Stop needing what you need. You can only find someone who wants and needs the same things. Or you can choose yourself. Choose your peace. Choose to wait for something real, instead of settling for something convenient. You deserve someone who is sure about you. Someone who shows up for you. Someone who is ready for what you are offering. Not someday. Not eventually. Not after you prove yourself for another year. Now, as you are, today. If this helped you see more clearly, if IT gave you permission to trust what you already knew, subscribe to Minplicht. We talk about the uncomfortable truths every week. The things most people avoid, but everyone needs to hear. And if you're in IT right now, if you are deciding whether to stay or go, trust yourself. You know the answer. You have always known. You just needed someone to tell you it is okay to. Listen to IT. IT is okay to choose yourself. IT is okay to need more. It is okay to walk away from someone who is not ready. You are not asking for too much. You are asking for what you deserve. Now go live like you believe that.